Next question. Is there a black community? Do you want to run with that, or do you think we've covered it?
I don't really think we covered it. We talked about, culture and that, but is there a black community? When I say, like, boom, is there a black community, I'm talking about, is there leaders out here trying to move us forward, trying to take us from where we are now to the next step? Is there that? Now, nationally, I don't see it. Locally, I think there's like small communities of people who are invested in what their youth do. But on a national level, I don't think there's no driving force. Like I've spoken to a number of people about, boom, have black people come? I always phrase this question, have black people come further enough in this country? And everybody's just on some real, far enough, say. And everybody's on some real, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. And they get offended, innit? They don't really want to answer the question, which, in my opinion, is we haven't come further enough, or far enough. So we haven't come far enough. Like, I walk down my high street and I see loads of Polish shops. I'm thinking, the like Polish man only really come over here in the last couple of years. Like
the last decade or so.
Yeah, we been here and we don't really have shops.
On that point, the thing that annoys me is that if you go to black hair shops, it's an Asian man running it. When you go to the black food shop, it's an Asian man running
90%
it. So, of the time.
So when I ask the question, have we come far enough? Yeah, and people just get so defensive, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It just kind of shows me the mentality that I really believe there is not really that community. Everybody's just worried about themselves. And it was when I was speaking to someone, he really broke it down to me. He's like, if I make money, money doesn't guarantee that my kid will make money. All the doors that I kick down, if I don't build a community behind it, he's going to have to kick the same doors down. So when you look at the black community, I don't really think it's there. Like, you go into your local shop that sells like black-owned business and spending your money there, you might think, you support your black community. But for me, if that black-owned business doesn't invest back in the school system in that area, it's not a community. It's about him getting his money, you feeling like you're spending your money in a good place, but he's not giving back to the community.
I guess what you're talking about is similar to the idea that Malcolm X and people of that time used to talk about, that being black nationalism. As well, though, I have to say, because we do live in a multicultural society, so to what extent do you think that we need to have a specifically black community?
It's not like to say, boom, that if we have a black community, we should alienate ourselves from all other communities. Just saying that from within, we should really be trying to progress us. But if you have the mindset of we've come far enough, there's nowhere else for us to go, then no one's going to make the stage. To say that you are the best that you can be today and there's nothing else you can do to progress yourself, it's kind of ignorant, isn't it? To say, I'm the best version of me. There's nothing I can do to improve myself. So because there's not that mentality, not people saying, all right, boom, go out there, get your education. Go out there, creating jobs for other people. Going out there, people kicking doors down and keeping them open for other people is what I'm trying to say. Like, not an alienation thing, like we can go do this all ourselves. Everybody has their rightful place, but because of some of the, connotations we have, it's important that we work together to try to build something to leave behind, because me doing well it's not a legacy. It's just one man who did really well for himself. And then that stops 2 generations down the line and your family's back in the same position.
I think we should move on to the next question. Are we ashamed of being black? Are we ashamed of being black?
Are we ashamed of being black? So when I say that, or when that question's asked, I think of stuff that makes us black in it. So stuff like the width of our nose, color of our skin, how our hair grows. You know what I mean? Stuff like that, how big your lips are. And then I also mean kind of, not about being black, but cultural stuff. Like the clothes you wear, the food you eat. You know what I mean? So many people push that to the side now. We spoke about this. This might not be about being proud of being black, but I guess it's on this kind of same level. Like I was saying, when I grew up, I knew no African people. I didn't.
None?
Like I knew. Maybe I knew 2 or 3 African people. Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in South London. Now I know these people.
What?
Now,
Not Peckham, no. Surely you must.
not Peckham. I live in South London now. Yeah. Now, when I grew up, went to school with other black kids. Yeah. And I didn't know no African kids. And then I know them same people now. Yeah. If I take the same circle of people I knew when I was like 10, and the same circle of people I know now, however old I am now.
Yeah.
I know a lot more African people.
Mm-mm.
Them people ain't changed. Like, they were African back then, but they weren't repping it.
They were Jamaican or they were St. Lucian.
Yeah, they weren't saying that they were African.
Yeah, I remember them times.
Now, there's certain things that people do now not to really stand up and be them, innit? So, like, when... We're not going to get too heavy into this because we want to save this for another topic. But when I see girls wearing weave... And I ask them the question, why are you wearing weave? And they tell me it's easier to manage. Like, kind of breaks me inside because I know that's not the sole reason why you wear weave. You know what I mean? I think that you've been brainwashed, and the idea of beauty from a European sense is very much this one thing. And if you're not that, you're not beautiful, so... You start to conceptualize and want to be beautiful, and the image push in your face is you have to have a long, thin nose, like full lips or something like that, and long, straight hair. If you don't really meet that criteria, you're never really going to be beautiful.
I think I agree with that as well. I remember it used to be an insult to be called blick in school. You understand? You're dark skin, innit? It's an insult, but really that's just how you are. You're a dark skinned person. There ain't nothing wrong with that. But it really and truly, I feel that it comes from slavery, because at the times of slavery, you had those who, as Malcolm X described it, yeah, the house Negroes and the field Negroes. Yeah, you had those who were living in the house with their master. Usually, they were the master's children. The master's illegitimate children. And these children would be mixed race because obviously the father was white, the mother was black. And the ones who were out on the field, they were darker. And they saw the treatment of the mixed race children, yeah? And obviously they had, the mixed race children got better and preferable treatment. I feel that that's fed its way down into this society. And again, to do with media and all of that sort of thing. But now you find a lot of black women and black men as well. It's not just the women, but who they don't necessarily feel confident in themselves with the way they are as a black person. They feel that they have to be a bit more white to either to be successful or to be seen as beautiful, to be seen as handsome.
And you know, a funny thing that I found, like certain people, like certain white people, like they'll do stuff to their features to be more like, let's say, like black looking, like people who get lip injections, so to have fuller lips. Like my lips are naturally full. Do you know what I mean? I would never have to go to get my lips Botox or whatever they do to it, but then going the other way, some people will have their nose, the width of their nose reduced, stuff like that. And then you got to understand, like, you're beautiful the way you are, innit? A lot of people, it's hard, a lot of people break people down to make them feel that they're not beautiful the way they are. But when you start changing things with your face, you start realizing, you know what, my natural beauty was actually beauty, innit? Now I changed my nose, and now I need to change my lips. Now I changed my lips, and now I need to change my cheekbones. Like, people get deep into this, you know what I mean? And they just start living a life of plastic surgery, just really trying to aspire to what they believed is beautiful and cover up what they think was imperfections. Like, I think, you know, like you were saying about the slave days, like, we've come a long way in it, and we're smart enough to know, like, this colonial way of thinking, yeah, is not healthy. Do you know what I mean? We need to stand up and just say, raw, I am who I am, I like who I am, and I don't care what you think.
I think as well, because it's all well and good discussing the issue and discussing the problem, but it's good if we can discuss part of the solution, and I feel that that's to do with knowledge of self, about learning about your history and about your culture and about where you've come from. Marcus Garvey said, if we as a people realize the greatness from which we came, we'll be less likely to disrespect ourselves. And I feel that that's a deep statement, because it's true if you know that back in the day you weren't. It's not that your history began with slavery and then from there you've been trying to work your way up. No, back before that, in certain civilizations in Africa and throughout the world, yeah, there were black people who, they had positions of power, they had positions of or they had wealth, they had knowledge. And obviously it's not to say that every black person was that someone was a king or a queen, as some people try to say, because who were they ruling over? Yeah. But you understand, it's good to know your history. If you don't know where you're coming from, you don't know where you're going, is the old cliche.
Yeah. Learning your history is great. I also think learning history in general also is great. When you start to understand that certain powerhouses in this day and age are only based on what they went into someone else's country and taken, then you would realize that actually, we are more than what that country's media is projecting. Do you know what I mean? Like America, they consume more than they actually grow. So if everybody said, all right, listen, we're not exporting to America no more, they wouldn't be the powerhouse that they are. So when you understand that, you know what, this power is all subjective, and you realize actually, you know what, we hold the power because we have resources and they have money. Like, what is the actual power? Is it the resources or the money to buy these resources? When you start understanding trade agreements and kind of modern history, you'll start to develop a better self-growth, and you'll see the world for how it actually is, not for what they want you to see it as it is.
Okay, the next question. Do you agree with the image of black people that the media projects?
Right. This one's a good question, because the media definitely does push out an image of black people, and it starts from all ages, from like when you start to conceptualize. Now, I saw a TV show on Nickelodeon Juniors, and it's about this young black doctor who fixes kids' toys. And as I'm watching it, I'm seeing that the young black female doctor, has like a perm, or it could be a weave, or it's just like not resembles natural hair for someone of her skin color.
Yeah.
So I'm just sitting there thinking, right, if you was a little girl and this is something you're watching, great, she's gonna now want to become a doctor, but now she's gonna be asking questions like, okay, Mom, I want my hair to be straight like hers. Now, I'm just gonna touch briefly on this, about people not being proud to be black. So if that daughter who says to her mom, listen, Mom, I want my hair to be straight, and that woman has been lost to the idea of European beauty is the most beauty, and she has weave in her hair, first of all, she probably don't know what to do with her daughter's hair. And second of all, she's going to love the fact that she don't have to spend time combing it every morning. She's just going to throw a weave up in that girl's hair. So we'll get into that next. But she's going to go and just say, like, boom, I want long, straight hair. And it's going to start affecting you from there. Like, I've spoken to many women, and they say, like, when they was a girl, they would put a towel on their head or something like that to represent long blonde hair in it. So the media plays a big part in how people visualize themselves.
I feel that the media, coming up, because obviously I'm a black male, so I'm going to speak about how the media portrays black males. A lot of it is, they're portrayed in a way that is criminal, in a way that you see a lot of negative images. And a lot of the music that is pushed through from black people is, to do with like shooting each other, killing each other, selling drugs and all of this sort of negative things.
Like, when you say, black people in the media, when you saying that, it just made me remember that Chris Rock stand-up, where he's like, it's the media is the media making black people look bad? Yeah. And he's like, when I go to the cash point, I'm not looking over my shoulder for the media, innit? I'm looking over my shoulder for the black guy, innit?
Yeah,
and like, when I grew up and I was listening to that, yeah, I was like, yeah, man, that's true, man. But then when I grew up and I understood, you know what? Actually, the media are feeding into a mentality of me when I was young to say, raw, me as a young black guy, yeah, I should be out there robbing and committing knife crimes. That's what's expected of me. Me being victimized by the police, like my first experience of the police is me running underneath a bridge and the police in a bully van pulling me and my brother over, saying, why are you running underneath the bridge? They're like, yeah, because the birds poo down and we don't want to get pooed on. So we always run under the bridge. And that was like a common thing to do in my area.
Yeah.
They still pushed us up against the wall, still made us take off our shoes, still made us do this, that, and the third. So when you have them kind of experiences, you know what I mean? And I think the police is, the reason they handled the situation they did is because they've been fed certain information about black youth, and this is how they should perceive. If you see two black kids running for no apparent reason, they're guilty of doing something wrong, then that's what it is. So I woke up and I was like, you know what? Actually, that comedy that I watch is media, innit? Even if it was his intention or it wasn't his intention, but that factored into how I felt about black people.
I think comedians and that sort of, them kind of people, I think they've got a kind of platform that not many people have. So they're able to discuss topics, yeah? Well, because they say it in a way that people enjoy, it's funny. They can get a point across, but still, you get what I'm trying to say? They're still not criticised for it because it's comedy. But in general, black people in the media, as I was saying, they're portrayed in a negative light. And I've got a quote here from Malcolm X who said, "The media is the most powerful entity on earth. They have the power to make the innocent guilty and to make the guilty innocent. And that's power because they control the minds of the masses." And we can see that because if you look at history, just in general, you see that when the Europeans came to Africa, they were able to enslave the Africans because they put this idea across that they're not human beings. You understand what I'm trying to say? They're not as human as the white people, and this can only be done through media.
That's how they got their financial backings.
You understand? You get what I'm trying to say?
What expeditions is what they would call them. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's always an ulterior motive behind it. But even with the Holocaust in Germany, the only reason you
be careful
in
now.
general,
be careful now.
Just to touch on it, yeah.
Be careful.
If you get a group of people and try to get them to commit genocide of a whole race of people, yeah, literally exterminate them off the face of the earth. That's what they're intended to do. Human beings are not necessarily, they don't have that innate, desire to kill everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You only get that through this division, this creation of us and them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say? And that's what's done through the media. Propaganda.
Yeah. Propaganda. I would say, like I was saying before, that I grew up in a Jamaican house, innit? And growing up in a Jamaican house, I would hear certain things about white people that if I hadn't seen images on the media contradicting what was said in my house or around the people that I knew of their background, I would have grown up believing, like, people saying that white people bath with dogs. Like if I hadn't seen on TV white people not bathing with dogs, yeah, I might believe that that's something that all white people do. All white people bath with dogs. Or, like I was saying, if you meet an old Jamaican man, maybe, I don't know if the females, but if you meet an old Jamaican man, yeah, and ask him about English people washing before the wind rush, yeah, he will tell you that, before the Jamaicans touched down,
That man used to shower once a week.
Shower. Hey, listen, you going too far. If you meet an old Jamaican man, yeah, he will tell you, listen, before we came, yeah, Englishmen didn't used to wash at all. Like they would used to wash once a month or once a week. You know what I mean? They would go out smelling frowsy at all times. And we came over here and we started washing, and we was going out, and women were taking a shine to us because we smelled good. He's saying, like, I was like, right, you know what I mean? Even though I know that to be a true kind of representation of history through, like, me growing up with the white media and some of these white comedians, they talk about having a bathtub in the back of of the garden and having to wash in their mums, dad, brothers and sisters' dirty bathwater, and it was cold. They used to stand there, just get a bucket thrown over them. So it was true, but there was other things that I was told that when I would turn on the TV, I would see a contrasting image, and it balanced me out. So I can only see, like, if you grew up in a white household and you're watching certain stuff you're growing up in a white household, and people of an older generation who have a different outlook on life and understand race and that to be a bit different to how you do, would be starting to tell you certain things about this class of people and that class of people. And then when you turn on the news or you turn on the TV, most of the time what you're going to see is something that mirrors them sort of generational bias that the older generation around you have told you. So the way is good on one hand, but they're really controlling the minds of people, and it's really it's really deep. You know what I mean? You say, well, like, the one thing I hear is all the time as well is that the media are not doing enough for the black community, quote unquote black community. I don't think really now in this day and age, that with internet being so easily accessible, popping off the way it is, that you really need to go to major media outlets to get yourself put on. Do you know what I mean? You can create your own platform and you can make something of yourself without then going somewhere and having your ideas be taken from you, reworked, because the audience you're aiming at isn't really the audience for you. So, like, if you have like a major record label, they have their A&Rs and stuff, and you come in as an artist, so like a young urban artist, you want to sing love songs, but they see you might have a scar on your face, you dress a certain way, they say, you know what, you know who you're aimed towards, yeah? They don't really respect love songs. If you sing a love song, you won't sell. But if you sing about shooting some guns, selling drugs, and your girl's got a thick body and everything's out of this world, when you have relations and that, you're going to sell a lot. And that then feeds back into this media controlling the minds of people.
Next question we have, is there a difference between the problems in the US and the problems in the UK?
Well, I'll say very much. There are some similar problems, but that comes across the... because we're all known as black people, so stuff that happens in the US is then put on our shoulders over in the UK, which I feel...
Such as?
Just like, again, comes from how the media portray black people over in America. Like, the crime statistic that of how many black people in jail in America, however true it is...
Ridiculous.
However true it is...
No, I'm saying it's ridiculously high.
Yeah, it's crazy high, and it's a true statistic. Yeah. But when you look at some of the crimes that they committed and how the American police system and American judicial system works over there, you can kind of understand why the jail population represents that. It's because, again, it feeds back into this promotion that all black people are drug dealers, this, that, and the third. Now, in America, the police force, they get paid, they get paid, but if you take down a drug ring that's worth 50 million, that 50 million pounds now belongs to your police force. So therefore it makes it more profitable as a police organization to chase people who are involved in activities that generate high income, such as selling drugs and getting money, than from someone who is a killer who does generate money. Like, I'm not saying that's probably a bad example, but maybe
we're not saying killing is okay.
You're not saying killing is okay, but like someone maybe who molests women. Do you know what I mean? Is not given that priority. They ain't task force in America set up to find men who touch women inappropriately, but there's a drug task force.
So you're saying that there's a specific race in general who deal with drugs or?
No. That's so. It comes back to the media and how the media is controlling the mindset, and it comes back to, is there really a community? If there's a community of people telling you like, bro, you know what I mean? Why are you selling drugs? There's more you can do if you can see the light of, listen, I've got a job for you. You don't need to sell drugs. You can make money, good money this way and this. But if your mind has already been corrupted by the media, and that's what they do, they play about with people's perceptions of who they are as a man or who they are as a person of black skin color, and then you feel less of. If I feel less of a man, this comes like back like being a kid. Someone challenges your manhood. First thing you do is act up. You say, "Rah, nah, I'm a man." Start puffing out your chest, and you want to assert your dominance. So when people are saying, "Boom," that these people do this, that, and the third, yeah, and you look at your life and you say, "Rah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that." If you're in that kind of mindset of self-defecation, yeah, you'll start thinking like, "Rah, I need to start selling drugs, innit? Because I'm not selling drugs now. I'm not really a man. Because I ain't got bare girls on my line, yeah. I'm not really a man, innit?" And this, you're not thinking for yourself. You're just taking whatever's being put out there and you're thinking what the media wants you to think or what they want you to think.
I think you slightly drifted away from the original question here. But there being a difference between problems in the US and problems in the UK. So as you touched on, obviously there's some similarities that to do with the prison population compared to the percentage of black people that are within each country. So the prison population, or the black prison population in the UK is about 10%, where we only make up 3% of the population in the UK. And people, sometimes I bring that statistic and people are a bit surprised that we only make up 3.5% of the population. But actually, if you go around, you go to places like York and places, up near the Lake District, and you get on trying to say you ain't going to find no black people there. But the fact that we make up 10% of the population, 1/10 of the prison population, that's a huge, you understand, that's a huge number. Likewise in America.
Nah, so I'm laughing, yeah, because when me and my girlfriend would go places, yeah, we play a game called Spot the Black.
Yeah, that's what we done in Wales. When I went Wales, I saw a black guy, yeah, because we went as a group of us, yeah. It was amazing.
Hey, sometimes we get some low scores, man. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so the fact that we contribute to 10% of the prison population, it's you understand, that's a big thing, and it's the same in America. But of course, the fact remains that we do not live in America. In I remember growing up, I used to read books like the autobiography of Malcolm X and all of these books from
civil rights.
Yeah, do you understand? American civil rights activists. And I used to try to find ones who are written by people in the UK, you understand? But there weren't any. And to be honest, that's understandable. The problems in the UK, they're not the same as the problems in America. We haven't, of course there was that whole no blacks, no dogs, no Irish, or and all of that kind of thing. But it's never been the same as it's been in America. In America, it's a lot worse, to be frank. You understand?
Is it worse or different?
It's worse.
Worse.
Even though you were talking about how you were running under the bridge and then the police came and stopped you and they searched you.
I didn't get shot at.
At least you didn't get shot at. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, you don't get that same. But don't get it wrong. You do get police brutality in England. Don't think it's non-existent.
On that point, yeah, I know this guy, yeah. We're walking with him, yeah. Police pull us over, innit? Do what they do, and then afterwards they proceed to tell us a story. Well, to tell me a story. Like, hey, your pal here, yeah, he's a trooper. One time it was me and a couple of the guys, we had him in the back of the van. He weren't going down. We was kicking him, beating him, this and that. He just weren't going down. Like, cool, you're a strong lad, you know what I mean? So I've heard about the kind of police brutality from police themselves.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes the police over here are real confrontational. Again, sitting at a bus stop, guy I'm with looking in the police car. Skirt. What are you looking at, mate? Are you gay? I'll say, oh, you know what I mean? Like, he tried to bait him throughout that fish hook. I was just like, yo, hey, just you let them go. But I hear what you're saying.
And the sad thing is, it's only to do with colour, man. Because it's not to do with being, you understand, lower class or anything. It is to an extent. But I'm saying there is that to an extent, yeah. But I'm saying even my dad, if you were to speak to my father, you're not gonna think he's any old guy. He's qualified. He's got an English degree. You get what I'm trying to say? He was a teacher at school for a long time. He's very well spoken. Yeah. But he still every now and again has problems with police when he's up in Hampstead Heath or something. You understand that? Like, why are you here? Yeah. You don't fit the environment. What's going on?
Yeah, the demographic in this area.
So I think that's something that.
So
I guess we can run back around and discuss it on another day. So the next question, is there such a thing as reverse racism?
Wait.
Oh, the big one, yeah?
These guys first. Yeah, I'm going to say no. No such thing as reverse racism in this country. Yeah? And we've spoken about this before, and we have this understanding that Britain is inherently racist. And because they're inherently racist, like the institution of the United Kingdom is inherently racist. Not saying that the individual people in there, but because they are inherently racist, they will always be the people to oppress. There's not enough of us to oppress our oppressors. So until we can oppress our oppressors, I don't think he said getting deeper.
Well, is that what you're trying to say? We should all get together and start.
But I think until there's a point where that happens, that reverse racism isn't a thing. And I think things like the way the media projects certain nationalities, the way people in Britain have the attitude of let's not talk about race, let's not talk about certain issues, just leave them untouched and they'll go away. Like, it just adds to this inherent racistness of hey, this guy is killing me for my pronunciations. I'm sorry, but it just adds to them. Like, one of the key things I was speaking with my girlfriend about the other day, I was speaking with you about it the other day as well, is about putting ticking your ethnicity on an application form. Now, we'll get back into that next. What do you think? Do you think Britain is inherently racist? No, sorry. Is there such thing as reverse racism?
Well, I kind of agree with you. Well, to an extent, because a person, because he's black, it doesn't mean he can't be racist towards a white person.
No, it don't.
I do think you can be.
I don't know.
My thing is, though, I think he can be racist, but I don't think it can be classed in the same way as when white people are racist towards black people due to the fact that black people, they don't have that authority. You understand? White people now, if white people in general are racist towards black people, that's preventing them from getting jobs. That's preventing them from making progress in society. That's preventing them from becoming CEOs of major companies. That's, and having them in prison, having them being stopped and searched more, all of this kind of thing, yeah? Sending them to worse schools. And this is what we see with, as you said, the inherently racist Britain. However, when black people are racist to white people, that's just, you so-and-so, like,
I don't know.
You white this, you white that. That's not...
Like, but as you saying, you white this, you white that, but they're calling us you black this, you black that.
What I'm saying.
What I'm saying is like that racism or prejudice?
It's racism. That's not me.
I think there's a difference between being prejudiced and being racist, and in some instances, yeah, someone's not actually being racist; they're just being prejudiced, and they don't understand, because they don't understand what they're dealing with. They can't be Christian. There's no intent to have that effect. They're just speaking what they believe to know is true. When you once then tell them, okay, you know what, that's not true, yeah, you should approach it this way, and then they continue to approach it the same backwards way of thinking that they first approached it with, then maybe you can say that was a racist act.
But the thing is, if you call someone you white this, you white that, or whatever, yeah, you are being racist towards them. It's verbal abuse based on the color of their skin. Yeah. If prejudice, obviously linguistically, is when you prejudge someone. So you think a certain way about them before you know their character, before you know what they're like, just based on how they look. So everyone has prejudice with them. If I see a particular person, if I see I'm gonna think about him. Whether that was from back in the day when we needed to survive out in the you get what I'm trying to say?
The Wild West.
Then obviously you're gonna, when you see something that looks like a danger, or you see something that looks like it might be a help you or something, you're gonna prejudge. You get what I'm trying to say? But in terms of actually being racist, I do think that black people are able to be racist. I just don't think that it's something worth or that has the same level of impact as when it's the other way around. So I don't think it could be classed as reverse racism in that way.
All right, it's not as...
And as well, sometimes you have white people complaining, black people are allowed to say the M word.
Some people, remember?
Yeah, I understand. I'm not gonna lie, yeah. That annoys me because that's the privilege of being black. You're allowed to say the M word. You understand? What's that? Fam, I'd rather control the economic system, and you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, a lot of people say, but yeah, like saying the N word now, yeah. I don't know why anybody white or who isn't black would want to say it. Like if you're really promoting this respect for everybody and this and that and the third, why do you want to say it? Like there's other words that people have said that the word's being reclaimed and it now means this. There's other words that mean the same thing as the N word in this new reclaimed state. Do you know what I mean? But it's crazy. But coming back to my point on is Britain being inherently racist, yeah? One thing that comes to mind when I think of are they inherently racist is when you have to fill out what ethnicity you are on the application form. Speaking with you the other day, I said I don't personally do it because I don't see what that adds to my application form. Now they say it's for our HR purposes so we can know what kind of demographics are applied to our jobs. For me, it's like it takes away, like, you want me to work here because I'm skilled to work here, or you want me to work here because I'm helping you meet a quota. Like, me, growing up in the UK, going to British schooling, yeah, me writing, okay, I'm black, British on my application form, all it does, like, I might be being cynical here, but all I feel it does is it helps play into the personal biases that people have against different race groups from, again, what's being projected by the media, and then it takes away from my job application because I went to the same school as Johnny, you know what I mean? I was in the same class as Sarah. Like, I don't know, because you had a kind of a different opinion to me. What does me filling that out on my form help? How?
Well, I guess some people would argue that now they do it for positive discrimination, they call it, yeah, which I don't know. But obviously, as you were saying, that they like to track how many, Africans or how many Caribbeans or how many Eastern Europeans or how many so-and-so that they've got in particular companies. And if they don't have a decent amount, then they'll try to get more. Yeah, so I guess so even now, if you got a black person in Cambridge, I guarantee, because now these days there's more black people in Cambridge than there were back in the day, but I guarantee if you got a black person in any class in Cambridge and the class is majority white, if there's any picture, they're getting that black person in it 100%, because they want to, you understand, they want to make it seem like, they're more multicultural, they're more this and that, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So I feel there's certain jobs that I think that I've got, yeah, pretty much because I was black. I ain't going to lie to you. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Because they're trying to say, like, now we've got someone who's a bit, they're from a particular place, part of London. They're more working class and this, and they're black. So, I don't know.
Hey, brother, on that point, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I really should be saying this, but I've employed a couple people just on the beat. like, no, they turned out to be good workers, yeah.
But the thing not got you.
But I was like, I have rejected some people who weren't at that level, innit? But I have given a couple people a job just based on that. But
then again, that's just to do with like human nature, yeah.
Yeah, like because social preservation or racial
really
preservation.
and truly, it will be difficult for me if I see someone who's very like me. He's grown up in the same area as I am. He has the same beliefs as me, has the same colour as me, and all of this. And then someone else comes who's the opposite, and they both got the same qualifications. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna employ him either. You know what I'm
Nah,
saying?
I ain't gonna lie. Wait, I'm gonna leave you out there right about that. It weren't never in a position where he got the job over someone else.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
No, I'm saying me. I'm coming straight. I'm saying out there. If they're the same level,
yeah,
it's difficult
if
to
they're
not.
yeah, it's difficult. But that's what I'm saying. Like, a reason I understood him on a level, or I understood that person on a level that only I could understand him because we shared certain things in common. So when he answered a question in a certain way, because I was able to understand it, which someone else who wasn't of the same kind of upbringing as us wouldn't be able to understand, he might have not got that job. But because I was able to understand, boom, that's it. But when you were saying that they use it for positive, what did you say? Positive
Discrimination.
Positive discrimination. Like, boom. I feel like the best way to know how many people of whatever you've got in your company is to do a survey of your company, not a survey of people applying to join your company. Do you understand? So if you're doing everything on merit, on my educational background, yeah, the colour of my skin shouldn't play. When I get to the job interview and you see me face to face, if you now need for HR reasons for me to fill out a form stating how old I am, what religion I am, what skin colour I am, I will fill that form out then and there because I've got to that stage based on my merit. And now if I don't get a job off of after that stage, I think that's more helpful information to HR than how many people applied. How many people got to the applicant stage based on the merit of their education and their previous work history? How many people got to that stage who were this skin color, this faith, this sexual orientation, this, that, and the third, who got to that stage and then didn't get a job? Then we can look at, do you know what? Out of all the people who got to that interview stage, they were all interviewed by that same person. Every time that person has a group of interviews and he has people from across the spectrum, he always takes that same one person. I would say, personally, the way I see it, that's more valuable information than me just ticking the box on the form.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but again, it's just for, for admin purposes. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, they just want to know how many black people applied, how many Asian people applied.
Is it for admin purposes? Because I went to some debate and they were saying, is this for admin purposes? I'm saying, I think this is more for marketing purposes. So
yeah,
if someone comes to you and says, your company doesn't have any black people, they say, listen, they apply, they're just not skilled. Do you know what I mean? And if you can show them, they applied, but we deem them not to be skilled, then they get away with it. But if you say, boom, they interviewed, we didn't know at that point, we took away his ethnic name, like my name, boom, is neutral, innit? But Tungo from the Congo, that's it. I panicked. But hey, listen, Tungo from the Congo, yeah, his surname is very ethnic or very Congolese, yeah. When he applies for the job, regardless if he doesn't tick, he's Black British or African British, they're gonna know from his name, and they're not gonna know he's Congolese. They're not gonna even know he's African. They're just gonna say that's a black guy. So I think I understand it, but just the stage that they're doing it, I think it can be streamlined to prevent it being used and gaining more helpful information than the way it's currently being used now. Yeah. So we've spoken about a lot of things in it. So we'd like to hear kind of if anybody disagrees with us. Remember, when we've been speaking here openly, but these are our own thoughts. They just represent what we feel about the situation, and they change all the time. Do you know what I mean? As new information comes to light. So if you have any points you disagree with, agree with, topics you would like us to speak about, so leave them in the comment section, and yeah, they'll be very well appreciated.
Yeah, and as well, just to add to that, so anything that I've said and anything that A said, then obviously that's our own personal opinion. So if you disagree, feel free to do so. And in fact, you might say something that, you know, because I'm not gonna lie, we've had a few discussions, and he's changed my mind about certain things, and I don't know if I've changed your mind about.
Yeah, no, you changed my mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so maybe you have some feedback that you might like to give, you know.
Yeah, I changed my mind, but yeah, just like in closing again, we spoke about learning about your history. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's very important. Just learn your history, learn history in general, and you'll be able to just see the world in a different way. But yeah, that's been the podcast really. So we're gonna wrap things up there. Hope you guys enjoyed our first podcast. Just to let you know, we do a university tour where we discuss similar topics. So if you're interested in having us come in, you can find details in the description box below.
Feel free to leave any feedback and any comments in the comment section. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at More Than Mindset.
Yep, that's been the More Than a Mindset podcast. Watch this space for more content.